you know, they're crawling out of the woodwork till 400 BC for these
Wow.
people. I just,
That's wild. Definitely a lot of time.
yeah.
And,
It's taken me 2 years to learn that some of my ancestors made it to Northwest Canada,
wow.
Saskatchewan, and they still live there. It doesn't help me.
Right.
You know.
Wow. I know.
7 acres. They want 7 acres of field converted to open space for 1 acre of taking the trees down to make that driveway? Is that what they're saying?
Yeah, they're playing hardball. They love doing that.
Yeah, they're nice.
Yeah.
Total acreage will increase.
Nice thing about their position, they can do whatever they want.
Only 25 acres can be used for active park. Interesting.
Is that final? No.
Nothing's fine
Right.
in my world.
Yeah,
Right,
We're,
right.
we're in the negotiating phase.
Right. Who signed the letter?
Shane Wilton.
Yeah, Shane Wilkin.
Land Steward, Central Region.
Oh, okay. Yeah, all right.
Well, anybody in here?
Yeah, almost anybody.
Is that Ben?
That is me. How you doing?
If I was any better, I'd be twins.
Oh, man.
Is it decided, our meetings in 2022 gonna continue on Thursday?
I think that will be decided tonight, won't it?
Tonight?
Well, not really. The only thing we decide tonight is when the
Organization.
or when the organizational meeting will be. As far my personal opinion, again, there's 3 trustees. I'm looking at going back to Monday nights. I talked to basically everybody who's involved with that, and the general consensus is Monday nights. Me, if I had it, I'd do it Thursday night at 5 o'clock, but I don't do my.
Yeah, okay, no surprise.
But again, we'll discuss it, and if anybody has any things, but everybody I've talked to,
I have no problem
Yeah, I mean-
either way.
and the only day of the week that I can't do is Tuesdays, because every 3rd Tuesday I meet with the fire department. So,
I have no problem with Monday or Thursday.
yeah,
It seems to be, people I talk to would prefer Monday.
everybody I've talked to said the same thing, so.
I have no problem with that.
So, to answer your question,
We'll see.
we'll give you some inside info here, ahead of the game, but yeah, we're shooting for Mondays.
Okay. I was kinda hoping that might be the case.
Again, we just did a transfer to, to try to
Right.
help John out so he can finish his year. Because we're considerate like that.
I thought I did on mine then. Or maybe somebody hit the button I didn't.
Mike, you had one job.
I checked it twice, Mike.
What's your, I know it's been a while since I've been around, but I know years ago, the first quarter, we always met every once a week, and then we went to every other, we don't do that anymore, just every.
We got everything streamlined
You got it
now,
all.
we pretty much know what we're doing, got the schedules.
All right,
A lot of that had to do with the roads, but we've got everything
okay.
pretty much down pat. It's done the year before, we've got the schedules, the things in, so,
Very nice.
yeah. Yeah, because it was one of those things where, we're coming in every day, and okay,
Right.
you come in for a 10-minute meeting for the first 2 months, it's like.
Right.
Hey, there's still chairs over there, dude. Over there? Yeah, there's chairs on the corner. I'm not sitting myself on that.
Yes.
I was kind of hoping we could have it on a YouTube submission,
What are we doing?
Not even died, so it doesn't need
Glad you showed up, people were asking about you.
Really? Were they concerned?
They look very concerned.
Thank you.
Greetings, fire department.
Greetings, trustees.
Thank you, sir.
I do like cherry, we should have put that in the
See, we already have a quarterly dinner in January, huh? Can we just have one?
Probably about
Trust
3
me.
months ago.
As you get older, it seems like you're having them weekly.
Oh, geez.
Pretty much. It was recent enough, it goes back to when we were on, it's a little hard to pull it out of the deep dark recesses. Well, I got changed, I thought it was, he emailed me June, I thought, yeah.
Anyone notice that the fence by the cemetery is knocked down?
Yeah, it has been. We kind of moved into a no maintenance status there while they were doing the road. And I'm gonna bring that up tonight.
We leave off, we're looking at not replacing the fence, going with brush there.
We were. Nancy talked to John about it too, and I'm kind of rethinking that, because we got all that cemetery money
What about a metal
From-
fence?
from the church,
Yeah,
those improvements.
that's true, so we
So
can actually,
we can shop a little bit, we'll talk about it.
see what our options
Yeah.
are. Okay. Call the meeting to order, do the pledge of allegiance. Ben Timmons, would you like to lead us, please?
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. All right, we got the minutes for the regular meeting of December 2nd. Any comments, changes, modifications?
No, they were complete to me. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
PJ?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes. Okay. I would have called you guys guests, but what the heck. We got Mario Minacci here from the fire department. We've been discussing the contract for the last couple of weeks. We discussed all of the changes. The last change we discussed was use of the department for community events. And we changed that from, what was the change? We went from
Motion and sponsored to the word authorized.
authorized by the fire department. So that would allow them to, they don't have to be the ones actually holding the thing, they just have to authorize the use of the department. And again, the reason we have them in charge of the authorization is they're the ones that are running the fire operation over there. So they have to keep control of what's happening in that building at all times, which is why it has to be authorized by them and not by the trustees. The trustees are only allowed to authorize use of that in case of an emergency. So we're keeping that up. So with that change, Mario is coming by to have us sign the contract.
Correct. Did Nancy
Okay.
get you guys copies?
Yes, I have it right here. Well,
Yep.
not the official one.
Well,
We have it right here,
Okay.
the official one.
All right.
My conversation was with her, she was gonna have two prepared.
Yes, so that they were coming from you guys. So they were coming from you guys.
Yes. Okay, so we need two.
Have you been in contact with the Boy Scouts
Um,
regarding a pancake breakfast?
I've
Not
been
as of-
advised that Chief Phillips had spoken with them, and I
Okay.
have a draft letter ready to get back, waiting approval from Chief Phillips before I send it to the,
Okay.
to the Boy Scouts.
I'm on the Boy Scout committee, that's what
Okay,
it is.
all right. I can CC you on that if you'd like.
They want to see the first page.
Yeah, 16th.
Fred's
I
got
put
a
that on
second,
this
yeah.
one.
Fred,
Hmm.
I can CC you on an email when I send it.
Okay, great. And I know, Keith, you've been trying to get in touch with me about
Some
some stuff.
Yeah,
We'll talk about that.
that's fine.
Okay, you got your copy, we got ours. Mario,
Sign both those two.
Thank you.
thank you for coming up. Just wanted to thank you guys for, all the service you've given us over the past gazillion years, and look forward to another year of.
As do we.
All right, and like I said, I know you are busy, most of you with your multiple jobs. If you've got other things to do, feel free to do them.
Thank you.
Keith, on the other hand, you can stay because I know you don't have anything to do.
You just need one copy, right?
Yep.
Correct.
These exams when I walk down.
All right, Mike Ludwig is here to enlighten us on some vehicle purchase recommendations, which we discussed at the last meeting. Mike, the floor is yours.
Okay, I've been working with 3 different vendors on, actually it's 4 vendors right now on replacing truck number 16. We bought it in 2010. It was our kind of our meat and potatoes go-around truck. Before we purchased a pickup truck, that truck's got 90,000 miles on it. It's time for the rotation roughly. And we talked at the meeting that instead of running a truck with a smaller body and a 10-foot blade, of researching to go to build identical truck that we built for Mike, Mark, and then this would be the 3rd big one, that it would play better into, if one truck goes down, we have the same size truck out on the road to keep the roads open during the event that a truck does go down, and they do go down. So I've worked with Valley Freightliner again on that chassis, and I worked with Judco again on the upfit, which is identical. It's 3 trucks identical builds. The chassis are identical, the upfits are identical, and I did make a sheet. I believe all the trustees got a copy of what the new truck's going to be, and that would be the replacement. The costs have jumped substantially, and that from when we built the last one in 2020 due to surcharges and steel costs. Valley Freightliner is currently holding 1 chassis for us. There's only 7 of those chassis right now to be produced in 2022 for that size. They're estimating 2nd or 3rd quarter that they could get the truck built for us to move forward on the upfit with Judco. Judco's on board of their thinking, depending if it comes in 2nd, 3rd quarter, and with depending on how it would work with Judco, they might see it on the 3rd quarter, they might see it on the 4th quarter, depending on, biggest thing is vendor issues. Being able to get all the components, which everybody knows that's a big issue right now. So, like I said, I got the prices, the specs and everything's in between you and PJ. I just made 1 copy because typically you guys really don't look at them or peruse because
There's a lot of big words and numbers.
Yeah, exactly. So, I did look at what we paid on the truck in 2020. It went up 16%. Due to the surcharges, they just knocked us with the surcharge on Wednesday, which International threw out the same surcharge. So it's just not one company picking on trying to, I guess, gouge people. And that I've tried to get understanding how they can do that, but apparently they understand it more on the legal side than I do. But those were under state bid contracts. Those numbers should be good. They should not fluctuate. And that with the upfit package, when I talked with Judco, I said, how can we lock this number in? Because basically the way that the vendors are speaking right now is they're giving us the numbers where in the old times, up to 2020 when we bought the trucks, the state bid was a state bid. It didn't move. That was the number. We were able to budget that number hard. I talked with both of them, and they feel that there should not be any more changes because Western Star just threw their increase, and I believe Lead Hill, that we get the bodies and galleon and all that, they're kind of stuck right there. With Judco, I did talk to them. I said, how can I make guaranteed so I don't have to come back to the board and have a conversation about an upcharge? I said, how do we lock this package price in, which we're looking at about an $88,000 package on it. And what he's starting to do with the townships or municipalities, whether it's a city, what he's doing is the minute that we present the purchase order, he orders it, and what he suggested do, he said he called it a split PO. His biggest cost of the build is his dump body, the snowplow, and the hitch that hooks the snowplow to the truck. So what would happen is he would order that unit the minute it hits the ground. We would pay $45,000 for those 3 main components. Then it locks the price. He can't move because that's his biggest material cost that he's bringing in. So that was one solution of keeping it where he can't shift the price on us, which this will be the third truck that we worked with them. We like working with them, and I think he likes working with us. So he's doing the best that he can, that we don't get any hard feelings on either side of the board on that. So I did get the cost, and the total for that one was $192,411 for that unit. We discussed before this was on the wish list, I was told to research it, that since we're getting, we call it the low pro, that's easier to be able to do, to put senior trash in, if the gate's lower to the ground, which the bigger truck, it's going to increase the height to reach up in there. We did bring up introducing a F550 into the mix, that we would put a 10-foot blade on that. It would have a smaller salter, but it would still be a tailgate mounted salt spreader, that we could use that as additional backup. If one of our big trucks went, we could put them in the subdivisions, let them do that. But the main priority of that truck in the winter would be to do the facilities where he doesn't have to keep reloading a 1,000-pound hopper. So we looked at that, and we would use it, senior trash, digging graves up the cemetery that we can back off the edge to get to the grave sites. And we could still use it as a runaround truck if we need to be, if we're short on a truck. So I had Valley Ford dual quote for us, and what we looked at is just doing an F550, power windows, power door locks, vinyl seats, plain Jane, air conditioning, four-wheel drive, so we could put it in the cemetery, or what Newberry does when they get in an ice event, they take that truck out and put it on the Bad Hills, because it is four-wheel drive. And we decided to go with the gas block due to the cost of diesel right now and the problems with the emission systems on it. It's very costly to maintain, where that truck could possibly be idling a lot. Idling with the new diesels is the worst thing you can do. So I worked with them on it, and she gave us a price of $58,987, as you can see on your sheet. That we would be ordering the truck through them. They're giving us the state contract reduction in price. Ford in 2022 production year is not releasing any fleet trucks. So they're giving us the discount, and then they can still order, which she was projecting again another second or third quarter for delivery on that. So I worked with Judco and I worked with O'Reilly Equipment on doing the upfits. Rob quoted the truck, basically a 9.5-foot bed on it, the salt spreader, the snow plow, the lights, etc. He quoted it. It was another galleon body that we've been very happy with. They've been bulletproof. He quoted it. I personally felt that the quote was high. So I talked to O'Reilly, which they put the snow plow on our Dodge and the Salter. I talked to them, they were a galleon distributor. They can put them on. So I worked with Jeff up there on that upfit. I met with him again today. We made a couple tweaks, and as you can see, his price was substantially less for the same package. And actually, the snowplow on the front of it, it has a thicker gauge moldboard on it than the Western that was quoted, where we'd be getting a 7-gauge moldboard instead of a 10, which we thought that was a big issue with that long of a blade, the stability on it. So, like in O'Reilly be willing to work with us on that. We have little tweaks. I explained to Jeff that we have certain little things. He was very receptive of working with us, and to be honest with you, we'd like to deal with a local vendor as much as we can, just because of service. If there's something that goes wrong, it'd be nice to run it 10 minutes down the street instead of running in Elyria. So and that came up to a total of $112,043. I'm just presenting that one to the board because it was on the wish list. I don't know where the budgetary monies are sitting, but we really need to look at, because it's taken 12 to 14 months to build these trucks, that at least get a reliable replacement and move forward. And that's what we're kind of hunting at. I know you and me had a couple conversations, PJ, so that's where I'm kind of looking at it. So, is there any questions?
Nope.
You had
That covers it.
112, and this is 118. This is from a different vendor, the 118, 155?
You want to know something else wrong sheet?
You talked to O'Reilly, and who was the other vendor on the
Judco.
Judco. That's the
Yeah.
that's the
There's a
6,000.
current number.
That's the $6,000 difference.
Yes, correct, PJ.
So realistically, how long do you think it will, again, there, best case, we're looking at 12 months if all the stars align?
Correct. Mark's truck, when we did it, we ordered it May of 2020. We got it in June or July of 21. So that was a 14-month build. They were, Valley and Judco kept warning me, get your ducks in a row because we don't know what's going to go on. And at that time, when they were starting to say, get your ducks in a row, the hydraulic systems were 54 weeks out. They have seemed like they got that under control now, but with vendor issues, what looks good today, tomorrow it could change. Which, if the stars align, we might be able to be able to sit in a new truck. If the stars align and we kept the paperwork moving to lock the truck in, we could see it at the end of the year possibly, or January.
And that's for the truck 16 replacement.
Truck 16, correct, Fred?
On that second truck, on the F-550,
Yes.
the second quote on the truck upfit with the snow package, is he asking for half down like Judco is on the truck 16 replacement?
No, no.
Well, my next question would be then, that was from O'Reilly,
The-
second quote?
Yes, the
Can
53,000.
he do the upfit on the 4700 chassis?
He preferred not to do that. That's not his specialty. He's more in the 1-ton market and putting a flatbed on. Judco's treat us very well, and I guess you were asking the question of basically putting the half down, Gene. Basically, what we're just doing is locking that price so there can't be an increase. So basically, we would cut them a check for that. We own those 3 components till they get the chassis.
So basically, he's holding 45,000 from now till the end of the year
To complete.
just to hold the price.
We wouldn't pay that. What we would do is, say, next meeting, we give him the PO.
Right.
He doesn't get that body till July. We don't pay for it till July. The minute that it hits.
So that's when he
Generally,
gets the.
Correct.
Okay, all right.
We're not putting money up front. We're
Right.
basically paying for what.
He's
We-
got into it at that point.
Right.
Okay,
Correct.
that makes
Yeah.
more
So
sense.
it's not a down payment. It's, and he said that's one way of locking it in.
So total for the two is 305,000. You got that laying in a line item somewhere?
Sure.
Oh, I didn't
Something
have.
we had nothing to do with?
Yeah, Fred, I was gonna ask you about that,
Well,
because,
I mean, this is the first time I've seen these numbers, so I'm gonna have to take a look
Right.
at it.
Yeah, no, and I understand that, Fred, because it takes at least a couple weeks to see where the numbers are and
Right.
and how we're gonna fund them. So
At least we'll have the information up front,
Correct.
so we don't
Correct.
have to.
Well, did we have the numbers for the first truck at the last meeting for the replacement of the 4700?
not the specific, no,
No.
in fact, there was all kinds of stuff going on with
Okay.
proposed price increases that if we react now, we could save, and that. turned out
which
to be a-
initially that's what we thought.
Yeah.
Valley, Greg Simonik through Valley Freightliner Western Star, he sent me a text and it was like, do the knee jerk. He said, hey, there's gonna be a price increase, it's gonna be substantial. It was knee jerk, hey, we better get the PO in today.
Right.
Basically, he said it's any unit that's built in 2022, so ours isn't gonna be built, it's not on the line, so the increase hits. So it's not a knee jerk now to say that we have to do it.
I just thought we encumbered it at the last, made a motion to encumber the money for the truck at the last meeting, right? Okay.
Fred, I gotta talk to you about this. Our debt service, we got the fire station and the road garage built, those two buildings, and then the 30,000, that's a truck. How many years left on that one? That's probably the one we bought in 2020.
This will be the last year, I
So
believe.
we got 22 will be the last year on that one.
So
Okay.
time-wise, that would actually work out pretty well for
That does work out
replacing
pretty well then,
16.
yeah. Okay, that makes sense then.
So the total for the two was 3 or what?
304, 454.
Because my truck would come up, I'm counting on my fingers, I should be right, 2024 or spring of 25 is when my truck, the next one comes in rotation. Just a little, heads out there. Where we run into the problem is this truck we're replacing, it replaced our 1 ton and it doesn't sit in the 4-year rotation. So it causes where we're when I first started, it was you had 4 payments, then you had 4 payments, you kept updating the trucks. This one got in the middle, so unfortunately you end up with an overlapping payment on that one. So
Well, I'd like to give Fred a little time to
I agree.
come up with a financial solution here. And but yeah, we're going to replace 16. I think the 550 we were talking about was came out of the employee reviews, which
Right,
we would
correct.
be looking at. And
Right.
I appreciate you doing that, and I think we'll take that into consideration. But our priority is the big truck.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel, that was kind of a wish list. But 16, to me, that's more crucial to
Yeah.
keep one of the big trucks up and going.
Well, if that's our last payment on the previous truck, then we're good. I mean,
Yeah, we
this
can
is going
keep
to
going.
happen. This will happen. So,
Right.
but let's get Fred.
Probably get going on that in January.
I would,
So-
as long as fiscal officer says it's good, I'd say we could act on that first meeting in the year, sure.
Hey Fred, no pressure.
No pressure. Merry Christmas.
Well, thank you, Mike. We appreciate it. You're
You're
very thorough as always, and this is definitely Mike's area. Whenever we get anything we need, give to him, and he'll research it and get us the best price.
Did you want that copy, Gene, or you good?
I'll get it from one of these guys. Thank you.
Okay. All right. PJ, you got anything to report?
Yeah, a couple things. I was gonna bring up the fence, the whatever perimeter we're gonna put around the cemetery now that the road project is mostly done. Nancy and I were talking about this the other day. This hedgerow out here is what JFB would be proposing to put along East Washington. And that has to be trimmed twice a year. And the problem is, 2 weeks, 3 weeks after you first trim it, it starts looking out of control again. Kind of high maintenance, you know. When we were debating a fence or a hedgerow, and I think we even voted on this, so I'd kind of like to reconsider that. Price was, it was cost-wise, it was going to be cheaper to put a hedgerow up there. And by the way, we're required by law to put a perimeter around the cemetery. That's per the revised code. So we really didn't look into a fence there, other than split rail's pretty much dated and it's got to go.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I think we should, look at fencing. And, again, this constant maintenance.
yeah.
The fencing would make sense. It's
Well, the other thing is when the church sold the property up here, they very generously donated the proceeds of that sale to the township, and they split it into 2 things. One is maintenance and whatever we choose to do at the museum, and the other is with the cemeteries. So this is money.
So I mean,
we
that would
did
be
not have.
this is a perfect opportunity.
Yeah, so we're gonna get some prices, I think, as long as you're ready to do that. And there might be motion from a year ago or so that we're gonna have to rescind. Because Gene, yeah, we were talking about this fence a year ago, but with this project looming, didn't make much sense.
Absolutely.
You know, we definitely agreed to just let it go, and, because they were talking about having to move it, and that wasn't really movable.
But it's something we're gonna get on pretty quick too. I would say, I would like to move on that in January, because you'd like to have that done for Memorial Day.
Okay.
The other thing, Mike, and I'm sure you're probably gonna bring it up, the CARES Act money.
Yeah, but you can roll with it.
Okay. Let's see, this was the initial one that came out under the previous, under Trump. We had, what, 364,000, was it, Fred, initially, or something like
Yeah,
that?
approximately right. And we have, that 40-some thousand
There's
left.
42,000 remaining, which needs to be used by the end of the year. I'm hard pressed to come up, I don't think we need any more fumigators, or meth. The only thing I could come up with is maybe a water treatment system for this building, but then you're into where we're gonna put it.
Yeah.
We put it at Fred's office and just kind of keep boxing it over it.
Might as well.
Yeah.
Well, like I said,
I'm out of ideas on this, I just,
my idea came up and got rid of a lot of money really fast, so we bought the squad. But, yeah, I mean, just trying to come up with something, you know, now.
Our prosecutor suggested giving that to the school.
she did. That was something that all the schools pursued this as soon as that CARES Act happened. All the schools were making, I think, large assumptions that townships were gonna kick all their money.
And give all the
over.
money back to them.
And some of them did, even in Jogga County. There's more than a few that did, out east of us, kick a lot of money towards Berkshire or Cardinal. We didn't do that, but then again, we came up short on our wish list.
Yeah, well, I'd rather give it to the school
Then back to the federal government.
than back to the federal government. But I'd like to know what the school's gonna do with it, so they actually, you know, I want all taxes to be lowered by $42,000. So, that's not gonna happen, but, I mean, at least we can, someone monitor what it's being used for.
Now, we did ask of the prosecutor some more specific things about a fire department donation. And, are we no good there?
Well, we had looked at some different items for the fire department. Keith, weren't you looking,
Yeah, can you give me a day or so on this?
well, no,
I got, yeah.
Not much, I mean.
Yeah.
because this is our last meeting of
I'll
the
be
year.
honest, if we could come up with something, I wouldn't mind having, I'd come up for a meeting on the 30th, or when it was that, a Monday? I think it's a Monday, I don't know.
Well, whatever.
If we have to, I mean, it's happened before, and it's a significant amount of money, so
Yeah.
if there's some appropriate need.
I will start
You wanna
tonight,
take a
I'll
look
look
at that,
and I'll see
Keith?
if we got a legitimate place.
I know there was some, it wasn't like, it wasn't equipment oriented, we were looking at, I mean, there was the aspect of, well, again, this is hard to track down. Lost revenue due to lower property taxes collection. That if we could somehow show that our property tax collection was lower than projected and could show that that's COVID related, this is getting into some stretchy stuff, then you can actually use those funds to go back for that shortage, right?
It doesn't look like Fred's money.
That sounds kind of complicated, to get done in the next 2 weeks.
Okay, I said it was a stretch.
From what the schools,
I think
the schools
there
collected like plus 90% of the tax revenues.
Yeah.
They were expecting a lot lower payments, but it came in a lot higher than,
So they were
That's not general.
90,
they were above 9%, and they were.
So we're gonna be along the same lines.
Yeah.
okay, so,
I have no idea.
My question is, can you put that money towards buy the blade on the truck? Can you use it for that? Can you use it for, okay.
No.
no,
It's different than the art money. The art money is a little bit more broad as what.
Are you coming
as
in,
far as
sir?
what we can use it for.
Oh,
But the
okay.
COVID money
I'll hold the door for you.
is definitely tied to COVID-related expenses.
Thank you. You're very welcome.
So we have to be creative.
Yeah, one-time use stuff that the fire department has to use because of the COVID related.
We really didn't look any further. We were very happy to get the straw out of that arrangement, so we, I didn't go any farther with that.
The other thing we had talked about was replacing the face card. Coming out.
right, yeah, everything that we had on there, because the second round was actually more flexible than the first round, what that 42,000 is from. So, yeah, we went through this pretty much in depth.
We did. I would say if you can get us something that you think may be applicable by Monday,
I'll do my best.
we'll try to find, we'll try to run it past the prosecutor's office again in time, and as I said, I got no problem coming up here for a meeting to either say, yeah, we're gonna purchase this stuff for the fire department, or we're gonna send it to the school.
Okay,
Yeah, we'll do that.
I'll get a hold of you later on by Monday.
Is that all right, Fred?
Sounds good to me.
You around? Okay.
Okay, anything else?
Let's see, is that on the agenda? No, it's something like that. Oh, no, there's one more thing. We got a letter in today, I saw it here, from Western Reserve Conservancy. And it just came in. We had pulled out the original agreement for when, you know, the deed restriction, whatever you want to call it, went on the property where they get the north side and we get the south side. And we're going to compare this to the original agreement, make sure we're still speaking the same language, like something didn't happen in the
Yeah, it seems like an 8-to-1 swap there.
Well, here's what was told to me verbally, and I talked to Pete McDonald at length about a week ago. Per him, we were never allowed to develop wall-to-wall all 31 acres on our end of it, on the south end. And he said, that's in the original agreement, you're limited to 26. Couldn't find that at first glance. So what they really are, if that is the case, that we already signed off on not doing 5 acres for some reason,
Then we're
and
not,
maybe we did, maybe it might.
well, if we did, then we're really not losing it.
Right, so what, all they're doing is the 2 acres, which is essentially behind Skalski's place there, the Clemens Creek swamp or water runoff, whatever that is, and they want a 100-foot buffer from there, going behind the house to the west property line, back to the woods. Where the trail that we have in there could exist, and stuff like that's gotta come out or anything, but they wanna connect the 2 conservation areas with that 100-foot
Yeah, that would make sense.
stretch, yes, but we're gonna make sure that this proposal and the original agreement are at the same starting point.
Okay.
And that just came in today, did not have a chance to go through everything at all, just kinda glanced at it, and we'll do some research and get to that in January as well.
Right. Anything else, PJ?
No, that's enough.
Fred, what do you got?
The only thing I have is we need to do temporary appropriations for the first quarter of next year. So I gave you your appropriation summary. If we look at that, and if you look at the second column there, and follow that all the way to the last page, that shows you we had 4.3, close to 4.4 million in appropriations final for the year. I'd like to go ahead and propose a resolution to adopt these appropriations as our temporary appropriations, which we will adjust and tweak after the first of the year. We have until March to do that, but that would at least keep us in line with, I don't see anything that would indicate that we need to have greater or much less appropriations than what we have here. These are the appropriations as they've been adjusted throughout the year. So I think if we could adopt a resolution to approve these appropriations going into the next year, we will tweak those and change them by March and have final appropriations then. This is just to get us through the first quarter.
Okay. So moved.
Second.
PJ?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. And PJ and I were both up at Klempe's memorial. I'm sure everybody heard about Ed. He was a good guy. And he was a friend to a lot of people. But while we were up there, just before power went out, and it kind of brought up the question of taking a look at something. Well, initially I looked at a generator, which is not a cheap endeavor.
Oh, that's
Plus the maintenance on it.
stunning.
But Nancy got me a figure just so we had to have something to look at, and it came out to roughly $74,000.
That's double what I thought it would be.
Yeah, me too. So, but we may want to look into next year if there's something we could do, like you were mentioning, just have a tie-in, something portable we could bring in there. But we've got to take a look at this. I mean, if somebody's having their wedding there, it's kind of a big event for them.
Yeah.
And like be sitting there in the dark and ordering pizza from down the street with the emergency lights on.
Yeah,
Not really
I
what
got
people are
that.
looking
I
for.
got that frantic phone call at 3:30, so I agree with you. Yeah.
Okay, so I just wanted to mention that.
What did they mention? What's that called? A transition switch? Transfer switch.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we... I'm not keen on spending $74,000 unless we can justify this by this latest slush fund that came in from the government.
Well, we kind of gave that a shot, and we were like summarily shot down by the prosecutor's office.
Well, what if that power goes out while we're having our monthly blood drive up there? That's health related. Bainbridge got into this with Centerville Mills when they had the election over there, and they lost power on election day. And they had the same frantic situation as how are we going to vote over here?
Yeah, but again, none of that is COVID related.
Yeah.
So I mean, we were even talking about
Put an air purifier system on it so that you can have clean air. It's then COVID related.
yeah. Well,
But we need electricity to run it.
well,
That's
where the
right.
generator
That's
comes
where you
in.
get your generator.
Yeah.
The only emergency meeting space you guys have right now that's available is the meeting room section of the fire station, which I think, I don't know what the capacity is in there, 80 or 85 or something like that.
Yeah.
That would expand your emergency use areas if you had to do like a shelter in the township or something during,
It's another one of those things. That's exactly what we were looking at, and it's exactly not COVID related. So they keep getting you on that aspect of it.
Okay.
So yeah, we were trying every way to get somebody else to pay the $74,000.
As it is, the hall rep, when I got there 3:45, said he'd already called an electrician and they're bringing a portable generator. And I said, well, Matt, you realize we've got no place to plug it in. there's no way to override the system. So, I think at bare
Well,
minimum, we should do
and
something.
that would have worked well in this particular instance, because I was looking at our lights flickered a little bit, and I, went on the First Energy website, they got the little circles where, I'm looking at it, it's like, oh, that's right where Adam Hall is. So in a case like this, where you just have spotty things, you can get a generator. If you go one of these things where half the township's out, you try to get a generator that day, you're not gonna be able to get one.
The transfer switch is what disconnects you from the grid.
Right.
And then generally there's a plug there for this portable generator or whatever, and that's the simplest way around. What you're looking at, that's Cadillac, that's $75,000. That's like an automatic on.
Well,
Soon as
maybe
the
able to
light
look
goes
at,
off. But there ought to be some way that.
well, even if we just get a switch box in there and get ourselves a portable generator.
I kind of agree.
That we can drag up there and have on our own. Maybe we get some pricing on that.
I kind of think that would be a good idea for several places, and I think our guys would use it too. At one time years ago, I brought my generator down they were mixing concrete. They had a little concrete mixer for doing footers at the cemetery. And you just find uses for stuff like that. I think these guys would.
Yeah.
All right, well, we do have one, it was an older one out of the old shop that we're thinking about replacing, and typically in the spring and fall, I just bring my little 3,000 watt in, but my concern would be down there is how big of a generator would we need to be able to do what to keep everybody in there?
Well, that day was like that day was warm and windy.
Right.
So all we were really concerned about at that point were some lights and water.
Right.
And
correct.
water. Obviously, if it's January and 10 below zero,
Right,
you'd like to have a furnace run. That's a whole different banana there. So, but at minimum, for 9 months of the year, in a case like that, to have lights and water would be, keep you in business,
Absolutely.
Yeah, because.
And I kind of agree with Mike. If you got an event going on, and even this one, that's kind of subpar service to say, oh, your lights are out, tough luck.
Right, no.
There should be some workaround.
No, you can't.
Minimal
You can't
work.
discount
Mike,
it.
let me give you a copy of this estimate, because it has it'll give you an idea of what kind of power we need.
Okay.
And maybe you can correlate that to something to replace the existing unit you have that may be able to serve both functions.
Okay.
Yeah,
That is a big boy.
It is.
No, that's a big boy.
It's 2 self-testing generators at the party center. Of course, we had put those in years ago, so they didn't cost $74,000.
That's stunning.
Yeah, that's, the price for everything's gone up.
This looks like it's a 150 kW generator. That's huge.
You power the whole township with that thing,
Like DJ said, you're just more interested in keeping the water and the lights
Right.
on when something like that happens. Caterers bring in their own heater.
Yeah, they're probably looking at, if they're looking at being able to operate, everything in there, you got all the air conditioners and everything else. But, like I said, at that
They'd be
point.
happy to keep the lights on and the
Yeah.
water running.
How big was the one that we just put in here, PJ?
I don't know. I don't remember. Hartman did that. Hartman was doing that.
Yeah, well, that's why
I tell you what we paid for it. It was like $13,900 because we just looked that up.
Yeah, so that was, when I was thinking about that, I was thinking the same price, but it's like, big jump from
Well, I knew it'd be
13 to
more.
74.
I knew it'd be more because that's 440 service up there, and they're going to price us something that would fill that whole need.
Yeah.
So I knew it was going to be a bigger unit. But I think that's crazy.
All right. Well, like I said, something we'll look at after the first of the year. I just wanted to.
Yeah, I could talk to the guys and pick somebody's brain.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay, we got this 2022 NOPEC Community Grant. It's a $1,500 grant, and traditionally we've split that up between the Scouts and 4-H. And Nancy was telling me today that there's something we can do to possibly double that grant, Fred?
She didn't talk to me about that.
Okay. Because she had, on here, the community acknowledgement form. Do you have that?
Nope.
Okay. Should have a copy of it in here. There you go. All right, well, guess we'll have to table that, and so we'll come back to it first. Okay, and, another thing under new business is to set the date for the organizational meeting. I'm looking at January 3rd, Monday.
Yeah, I think just for tradition's sake, would like to go back to Monday. We only moved to Thursday here for this last quarter because John Eberly had some health issues and Thursdays just worked better for him than Mondays. So for the last 3 months, we did that. And I think that was the right thing to do. You know, it's always been Monday. I'll be honest with you though, I mean, back when there was a move to Thursday and it was all controversial, I was coaching 2 kids in youth basketball and I had 60 cows chasing me around and things were a little different.
Thursday at 9 in the morning.
Yeah, well, that eventually did happen.
You remember that one,
yeah,
huh?
that eventually
Okay.
did happen.
Yeah.
So I'm open, but
Fun
I
times.
think Mondays.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
agree.
Tentatively, but, okay, so we'll set the organizational meeting for Monday, January 3rd at 7:30 PM. Okay, any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, this question is directed to Fred May. Fred, I've had a request in, I think, maybe close to a month, and wondered how close we were maybe to getting that filled.
Oh, I sent that to you, I thought I sent that to you on Friday of last week.
Oh,
Check your email.
oh, okay.
I'll resend it.
Okay,
But
appreciate that. And I will look to see if it wound up in my junk box. But, I haven't been aware of that, but do you want me to just send you a note if I can't find it?
yeah, if you would,
Okay, sure.
then I can
We'll do that.
reply to that.
Thank you.
I think when we moved to Thursdays, we did that by motion, so I'm gonna make a motion that we meet on Monday, January 3rd, at 7:30. And then we'll set the rest of the year's meeting.
Okay, second.
PJ?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes. Okay, any other questions? All right, make a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of 2022 zoning commission and board of zoning appeals interviews pursuant to RC 121.22G.
Second.
So,
No
if
business.
you're not
No-
Brian Square, Angela Doherty, or Ben Timmons, we'll see y'all later.
And Merry Christmas, everybody.
PJ?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Gene McKeon is gonna be in on the interviews too, we better put that in
Okay.
the minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike,
Sure,
appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
Seeing you.
Yeah, I will.
Take care, man. Thank you very much.
Yep, you're welcome.
This,
Well,